Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to another crypto market update. My name is Brendan from Crypto 101, and it's been a pretty volatile week here in the crypto markets. I mean, just at the end of last week, we saw Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of $99,900. And ever since that point, Bitcoin has been on a bit of a retracement period, going all the way back down to around 91K. And this has caused altcoins and crypto-related stocks to pull back as well. So we're going to talk about what happened here, why the crypto market is pulling back, and of course, is it something that you should be concerned about? So if any of that interests you, all that we ask is that you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, and you stick around for the full length of this video, as there's going to be important information discussed the entire way through. Now, let's go ahead and kick things off with the price of Bitcoin first, because what we have over here is really just that retracement, right? We go all the way back to Friday. We hit that 100K resistance essentially, right? We came within $100 of it, but we hit this level, and ever since then, we've were just slowly bleeding off until the market opened on Monday, which is where we really started to see things accelerate, even down to today on Tuesday, November 26th, where we came all the way down to a low of $91,400. Since then, we've been recovering quite strongly to the upside, and we have been seeing the buyers come back in here, which makes a lot of sense because this is not only where the 20-day moving average is on Bitcoin, but this is also where the previous consolidation zone is as well. In other good news, Bitcoin really does have a lot of support in between where we're at now and kind of the lows that we had from a couple of months ago. Beyond where we're at now, we still have the 50-day moving average around 76K. We have our previous all-time high around 72, 73K. And then we have a lot of other layers like the AVWAP from the previous high and the 200-day moving average, and a lot of further consolidation if Bitcoin is going to get any kind of a steeper retracement. But I'll tell you what, I'm really not too worried about seeing some move down to 30 or 40K or the cycle being over. In fact, I think that it's really possible here for Bitcoin to continue moving higher. And I don't think it's over-exaggerated or overconfident to say that Bitcoin can break 100K. Now, it might not happen by the end of this week. It might not happen by the end of this month. But I do think that it is probable for Bitcoin to eventually break above 100K, likely here by maybe the end of this year or maybe by January. But I think inside of the cycle, Bitcoin has a lot more room to the upside than just 100K. And I'm not calling for a $1 million Bitcoin by the end of this year, but I certainly think that maybe a $150,000 Bitcoin, maybe a $200,000 Bitcoin, I still think it's on the table. I still think it's possible. And I certainly think that we can pierce through 100K and maybe at bare minimum get to something like 120, 130 in the very, very least. So when we're looking at all this, the one other thing that I kind of noticed here before we get into some of the more fundamental catalysts is that Ethereum has been actually doing quite well. Ethereum has really kind of broken out of this downtrend that it has been in for a while, or at least it's very much retesting it here, as we can see. But it's no longer seeing this kind of path of lower lows and lower highs. It's kind of come up to its macro resistance and even gotten above the 200-day moving average and all the moving averages for that matter, as it's putting a lot of pressure to the upside here. So I am keeping a pretty close eye on Ethereum, as this thing is really, really looking like it's pivoting off of those recent lows. And we've also started to see that, yesterday, for example, Ethereum was green while Bitcoin was red. And what this essentially does is this allows something like Bitcoin dominance to get a little bit of a green day. And so we can see that, Bitcoin dominance is and has been falling. And this is the first time in, I think, 6 months since we've seen Bitcoin dominance consolidating below that 50-day moving average. The last time that we saw this was back in around June or July of this year. And even with this kind of 4% drop in Bitcoin dominance that we got, it allowed altcoins to go crazy. And some of the biggest movers that we've seen over the last week were things like Stellar Lumens, or maybe XRP, or Cardano, or HBAR. And, recent runners have been things like SUI and Radium and a lot of these other ones that have just been going up and up and up. And they're still holding value relatively well. And so there's been a lot of big winners here in not only on Bitcoin doing really good and hitting that big resistance of 100K, but also on the altcoin front. Things have just been doing phenomenal. And we've been seeing a lot of cool stuff happen with Bitcoin dominance barely moving downwards at all. And again, I think that that's another big indicator that there could be a lot more to come, especially on the altcoin front. Solana is also another big one that is recontesting its all-time highs. There's a lot of price action that's happening over there. But if you want to learn more about that, check out some of the links in the description down below. But really circling us back to what Ethereum was doing here, Ethereum has started to really gain momentum, right? We were just looking at it on the charts. It's looking like it wants to pivot out of that downtrend. But another important thing to understand is that capital flows have been shifting from Bitcoin to Ethereum. And this is from a block study just saying, hey, derivatives market activity is signaling growing confidence in Ethereum's near-term upside. And the charts are kind of reflecting a very similar story to this. And so when we're looking at Ethereum's kind of relative position in comparison to Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin has broken out to new all-time highs. Solana has been able to recontest its all-time highs, but Ethereum really has not been able to do that yet. And Ethereum might have a little bit of a game of catch-up to play to get it closer to where a lot of the other leading cryptos are. And I think a big reason why Ethereum has been bogged down so much has been due to the fact that Gary Gensler has been so hard on the Ethereum ecosystem, but we're already seeing Gary Gensler actually take his leave on January 20th of this year. And a lot of people just haven't realized that yet. But as of January 20th, next year, 2025, Gary Gensler is going to be out officially. That's going to be his last day. And I also view that as a positive catalyst for Ethereum as well. So there's been some articles circulating around like this one saying, hey, Bitcoin's sliding, this and that. But things have been positive, right? We're ending this positive streak that we've had. And again, this is a normal thing to see. We always see these 10, 20% pullbacks in any kind of uptrend. In fact, we have about a dozen of these in any given parabolic market cycle. And it's inside of those where the true buy the dip opportunities are. And, we see these headlines like, oh, there's a sudden panic as all this money is crashing the market. It's really not a crash at all. In fact, the last time that Bitcoin was at this price was a week ago. Not even a week ago. Less than a week ago was Bitcoin was at this price. And yet it's being labeled as some, sudden panic and $200 billion crash and all this stuff. And while the numbers might not be wrong here, I think to say that it's a panic and a crash, it's just a bit of an overstatement or exaggeration, considering that this was the exact price that Bitcoin was trading at last Thursday, less than a week ago. So 5 days ago, Bitcoin was trading at this price, and somehow we're on this big, massive panic and crash. And I always find these headlines a little bit more comical. And perhaps the real reason why this is all happening as a little bit of just relief is Jim Cramer came out and he said, hey, I've always owned Bitcoin. I've always backed crypto. I'm a big fan of it. And of course, he publishes this and the price of Bitcoin crashes. Is it a coincidence? I'll leave it up to the viewers. I'll leave it up to everyone that's watching this. But there is this thing called the inverse Cramer theory that whenever he says something positive, that asset falls. Whenever he says something negative, that asset rises. Of course, with him coming out and backing the crypto market, it has some people concerned because of that inverse Cramer theory. And he does quite a good job of kind of inversely spotting where tops and bottoms are. And, some people like to counter trade him because of that. But that's going to go ahead and wrap us up for this week's market update, everyone. I hope all of you did enjoy. And I want the big takeaway here to just be that the crypto markets are still very much in an uptrend, and we're very optimistic about them. Despite seeing this pullback, again, Bitcoin was trading at $94,000, $95,000 just last Thursday, about a week ago, less than a week ago. So this pullback in hindsight, does it suck that we didn't break 100K on our first try? Yeah, maybe that's a little bit disappointing to some people, but pullbacks are natural. We see them happen all the time. And, out of these pullbacks, historically speaking, any previous pullback would have been a good buying opportunity, considering the fact that Bitcoin just hit the 100K price point. So we hope everyone is having a fantastic week. We hope everyone is making some good money here in the crypto market. If you like the video and you like the content that we make, all that we ask is that you check out our YouTube channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check us out on some of the other content that we have as well. Also, if you're new here and you want to get plugged into a really great crypto community, you can go ahead and check us out over on Crypt Nation. And we have some links in the description down below where you can get plugged in. You can check out the Crypto Revolution book. And of course, if you want a deeper dive into a crypto community, we got Crypt Nation available for all of you as well. So that's going to wrap us up, everyone. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see all of you at the same time, same place next week.